All right, Tom. Now, tradition on our channel here, we do team ratings. So I'm just going to jump into the
Yes.
Discord server. I want to get your opinions on some of these teams. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these guys have started around the same time I did. So
Beautiful.
they're building up the rosters, but
Yep.
I want to know from you what they should be targeting, where they can really improve these sides.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
Beauty, man. So first up, Gun40, absolute legend in the server. One of my favorite people in there, actually. And let's look at his team. So he sent through the starting side. We've got Harry Grant at hooker, big middle forward set. Fanua, Blake, Payne Haas, Isaiah Yo, Kalama Matangi and Lucas in there. We got Nico Hines, Nathan Cleary. It's a great combo.
Yep.
Grab and Best, Toby Farmworth, Brian Turr, Zach Lomax, Jai Gray, and a strong bench here. Most notably, Terrell May, Kalen Ponga for round one. I'm pretty excited about. What do you think when you see this team? Because to me, it looks really good.
Mate, it looks fantastic. And there are a lot of similarities with my squad that I'm rolling for round one and this one here. I think the forward pack, those middle forwards, you can see there, the three starting, are the three ideal ones you want. They're some of the highest scoring mids in the game. And I love Terrell May, likewise. I think a lot of people are super excited about the extra minutes that he could potentially get and the output as well. So I think it's really good. I love that he's got a couple salary hits as well. I would take out To'o. This was probably sent in before the unfortunate news because, goodness, he would also be in my squad. Big fan of Brian To'o. But Lomax, like a lot of your great scoring players in there and some good salary cap distribution as well. Nico Hines, gold, high scoring player. If he has a great game in Vegas, only a couple hours away, then you're going to be laughing. What a great start to round one it will be.
That's a hot squad. I would say you're right about Brian Toe. The other one I would mention here is Jai Gray, gold. I would say it's a bit of a waste of salary cap. And he's actually sent through the depth that he has here, which I'm just going to sort of have a laugh at because it is a big list.
Wow.
So we're not going to go through all of it, but
seems like he's got options.
He's got choices.
Yeah.
He's got choices. But
so talk to me then. Ideally, think is it a waste of salary cap or player? Would you be looking elsewhere?
I just don't think. I mean, if you're going to have him in, maybe put him in as a bronze player. I wouldn't be sort of giving him that gold because you're using a lot of cash there to do that. So, like a Scotty Drinkwater or even Hamaso up against the Raptors. Like,
yes,
Game Day favors attacking stats more, and Hamaso is an attacking stat machine. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I'd go that way. And then if you're going to go Hamaso in there, you free up cash and you can make Kalen Ponga a gold. Instead, I believe it was a bronze.
A bronze. Spot on.
Yeah, I would upgrade in that way. But what are you thinking here?
Yeah, look, Kalen Ponga gold, very tough card to not get in your squad. We know how good he is. So I hear you there. I think it's a good sort of realign that salary cap a little bit, work it. But there's definitely, we've got some, even Tommy Turbo there on the bench as well. You know, some great options at fullback. I think fullbacks are one of those positions this season. It'll be hard to nail. There are a lot of good fullbacks. And with our game, you can see on the bench. So you've got the one fullback spot. But on the bench for the wings or those players, you can actually play two other fullbacks in there. So you'll see commonly a lot of people will put two other fullbacks. You'll be running three in a round. So it will be important to nail which ones. But I'm in agreement with you with get that gold Ponga in and maybe rework that salary cap just a little bit.
Yep, I'm with you there completely. Keanu Keeney as well, gold on a buy in round one. But I think if you're looking at winning weeks, he's the kind of guy who can just pop off that one given game. And at the gold multiplier, you're in a good position with him too. The other thing I'd shout at is look at this depth.
Oh, wow.
When I assume he has got choices on choices on
sure.
choices.
I did also see he has two gold Kalen Pongas. So, everyone can play Gameday Squad their way. It's their journey, which is the beauty of it. But one thing that I like to do, I sort of like to get as many cards in different rarities that I can. So, one thing you might look at is maybe trade one of like a gold Kalen Ponga, see who you can get. Maybe get a gold Dylan Edwards, so you can maybe stream him through in a week. Get a gold Latrell Mitchell for when he's back, one of our better players. So, everyone can play the game their own way. But when you do have sort of the same card, I personally like to look in the transfer market and see how can I broaden my cards.
I just messaged him and asked, can I have your gold, Kellen Ponga? So hopefully he doesn't go to the transfer market. I want to get a good deal for myself here. But
a great deal to get him.
Well, that's one of the good things about this little chat we got here too in the server. So, we're all beginners on the casual athlete side.
Yes.
So amongst ourselves, we can kind of, have this safer space. And then you can jump over to the Gameday Squad server too, where look, there's a lot of veterans. I noticed when I jumped in there were people offering me bronze cards of any type I wanted, because they wanted to help.
Our community is very friendly, and you'll find that if you do need something like those bronze or silvers, and you're new, you've just joined the Discord server, people are happy to stretch their arm out and help you get started. And of course, if you use your code, you would have had those packs at the start as well. So it's a great little introduction to Gameday Squad. But we actually have a trade sort of discussion room as well, where you can go per sport.
Oh, wow.
So you can go for the rugby league and you can talk about trades. You either ask for players that you want, or you can list players that you're willing to trade, and people will DM you. It's like you're actually a coach and you're going through, like, who do I want? What players do I want? What rarities? I love it. I love that aspect of it.
That's exciting. We'll try and make some trades, guys, because I've made about 10 trades from my team so far.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, just jumping on the market there, listing different things. And one strategy I like to use is if I've got a gold player that I don't like as much, I'll trade them for a bronze player I want more, or a silver player I want more. And
love it.
Just try and convert in that way. We've got another team here. So Sipley is the best here. Let's see his side. And this side, I would say this side has a few more things we can really look at addressing. So for this one, you got Croker up top there. You know, I won't read through the whole thing, but it's sort of the tier 2 in a lot of positions. I would say it's got a stronger back row than the last team. And Dylan Edwards at the back with Reece Walsh, Tom Trbojevic. That is a fantastic set of wing fullbacks. The other thing I'll shout out here is Tommy Talau, best player in fantasy. That's a meme for our channel, basically.
Yes.
But he's the guy. So leave Tommy Talau in there. But Tom, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, look, there are definitely a couple of players that you identify. I'm personally not a big fan of the double hooker. You can see Grant's in there with Croker. And as I was talking about before, those sort of bench spots are bunched together. So you can actually go edge, mid, or hooker on those 2 spots on the side there. So I guess sort of strategy is looking at some more forward options. I feel like they're a little safer in terms of their output, and they just help you squad a little more. One card I might sort of shout out, Jermaine Asako. Like, we know he does the kicking, so he's going to score points in that side. But I'm a little nervous about getting him into my squad for the first round, because we know he can be a bit hot and cold. I'm not exactly loving the matchup. I sort of want to see how the Finns come out here to start this season before I'm fully on board with the Asako. Okay. Does that mean I don't have a Asako card? Absolutely not. I've got a plenty, but just not for round 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game against South, though, who are struggling, right? So
they are struggling.
Maybe it does pay off, but high risk, high reward.
Exactly
and that's the beauty of this, right? We all have our own squads. So you don't want a Sarko, that's fine. Sipley is the GOAT, might jump on a Sarko instead. So.
And then he might smash me anyway. Maybe a Sarko does way better than whoever I have in. And
let's review that after.
Exactly right.
But we've got a Lachlan Croker up the top there as well. So Croker's out till round 4, I believe it is, or maybe round 5.
Yeah.
So you got to sell him. That's an easy one. Move Harry Grant to the starting side.
Absolutely.
Sell Lachlan Croker. You will 100% have some backups in the forward pack that you can bring in.
For sure.
The side, so you're in a good spot. I'll shout out to Jermaine Hopgood, Jacob Preston, Hamali Olakawatu, high upside pods in the forward pack. So guys that not many people are running.
Oh, yeah.
Especially a gold Olakawatu. Like, that can pay dividends against the Cowboys side, where I'm not sure how the side's going to work, but he might be running at Tom Duffy, which could be very attractive.
Tackle break machine, man. Yeah. He knows how to score fantasy points and in a hurry as well. I love Jacob Preston. Honestly, I think he's one of the more underrated players, and has been for the past couple of seasons on the edge there. People just seem to maybe forget about him, but he at times can take a little while to get into the season. But once he gets going, he just is flying, and he's just one of the best.
And you saw that run he made out of dummy half, cut through, what was it, like 60 meters
looking fit
for a try? He looks fast, mate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And Gameday Squad does reward the attacking stats a bit more. It's probably a good segue, actually. So Ant-Man posted the stat leaders from last year. I'm going to get this
Shout out Ant-Man.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm going to get this up and sort of ask for your opinions here, because I want to know sort of how the stats are a bit different to fantasy, and what Gameday Squad really focuses on.
Yeah, for sure. So with this, we used a combination of total points for the season and then also average. So players that missed a bulk of games weren't necessarily in this list. We wanted to give an accurate representation of what you might call the best of the best over the entire season. So you can see their season leading scorers, Jerome Hughes. What a year he had, you know. They got the 1-2 punch there at Melbourne with Munster and Hughes. But Munster had a couple issues last year with health and staying on the field, and who stepped up and just took control of the team? It was Jerome. He's one of the best players. He's one of my top 3 halves for the year, probably at third, in all honesty.
So you don't have him over Cleary Hines or
Cleary Hines?
Yeah.
And then Hughes,
okay. Yep.
But consistent. So these sort of players you can see high, either just points per minute players with your Yos, Fanua, Blakes, like that, or you can just see those attacking people that are electric with skill through the middle that are either going to score tries or have try assists. So as you mentioned, we favour a little bit of that attacking. So you'll see there in those mix that you can see those type of players exactly being played out. Even Kaloma Tangi moving into lock last year. At the start of the year, started a bit slow, but my goodness, did he finish strong and made our top 10 for the season.
Wow. Yeah, it's an interesting list because you got Tarpanay up there as well. I mean, he's a guy who, durability-wise, that's what pays off
Plays
there,
every
right? So
game.
total points, yeah. Matty Burton, 55 average. I've always thought he has the potential to jump to the next level. And I've got him in a few teams where he's sitting on the bench there, but it's hard to start him when you have Cleary and Hines. That's the tough part there. And you've only got that one bench spot.
We are blessed to have a bunch of very, very good scoring halves. But playing as someone like Burton on a week where maybe a Hines has a down one will be the difference between jumping up a ton of leaderboard spots and potentially winning prize money.
Yeah, because that's more points for that attacking stat profile there. More negative points for missed tackles as well. So -3. So I would say, and that's where I really like the idea of playing this alongside fantasy. It's a bit more skewed towards attacking stats. So I can take the bets on the guys who I think will score a couple of tries, maybe don't have the base stats.
Yeah, exactly right.
In a given week, right? And Scotty Drinkwater there, top 8.
Do you know who's amazing for this?
Yeah, who?
Dylan Edwards. Attacking stacks and never makes a mistake.
Yep.
So you just never get any points negated. It's just continual points on points on points, and just one of the best at his position.
What a beast!
Just didn't make the top 10 because of injury again.
I'm putting you on the spot here. Who were some of the top scorers last year, like individual games? Like, do you have any in your memory that really jumped out? Like, obviously, there's the Hines game where he went huge.
Hughes had a big game. I think he scored 99 fantasy points in a game. So he just had himself an absolute day. You'll find that those scores come from players who get those doubles or hat tricks in a game, and especially even better is when they're actually kicking and converting themselves. So not only do they put it over, they're like, I'll get the bonus points as well for kicking it through. I know Latrell Mitchell has had a knack of having some of the highest scores for the season in just back-to-back years because, he'll have some off weeks, but when he starts clicking and he has that matchup where he is unstoppable, best player to have in your comp.
Yeah, he's one that you could look at in trades as well because he's going a bit cheap right now.
Do you buy low?
I'm a fan of buying low, 100%.
Oh, yes.
Wherever the market's going, I'm going the other way. Like, I'm looking for those.
For sure. But if you want consistency, that list right there, you saw it. So some of our better players, but let's get back into these team reviews, hey?
Well, let's go Ant-Man's team.
Ant-Man,
so he's the one who sent it through. He sent through the top 10, and he's taken those lessons and applied them to this team. Now, interesting shouts I want to make here. Max Plath, named on the edge in the trial game and likely starting on the edge and then moving to the middle at some point. Bit of chat, he could play 80 minutes. That's pretty exciting.
That is exciting.
Tino back from obviously a major injury last year.
What's your thoughts on getting people straight back in after a significant injury? Are you in? I know we've had a full preseason, so it's a little different to some people that are coming in maybe in the midst of a year, like Latrell will be doing, but what's your thoughts? Do you go round one? Do you want to wait and see how they perform? What's your strategy?
I mean, it's a tough one. It depends on the role that they're in. So for the Titans, I'm a bit worried because they got RCG, Fodawaker, Joel Shoy played minutes last year. We saw, a bunch of guys in there like Firma and Fafita are back as well. Chris Randall can play lock. There's just too many guys there that can soak up the minutes. And if they play well and they win like they did in the second trial game, he'll get a rest for sure. So Tino, I've got a few nice Tino cards, but I'm not using them round one.
Gotcha.
But then if it's another guy who's coming in and they have to play the big role, that's where I'm sort of less concerned about it. So if someone's coming back and maybe they're a half, for example, and they're a dominant half and that sort of thing, then I might not worry about it as much. But how about you? You think the same way or?
Absolutely. Yeah, I like to get the confidence first and see it with my own eyes before rushing back into squad decisions because, again, there's a plethora of players you can put through there. And I just think for myself, I'm a little bit more confident going into a game being like, okay, I know this guy's fit. He's come in. He's ready to go rather than having the stress of worrying about like a minutes restriction. If they're on top, then he's going to get pulled. And then, it sort of just doesn't get your round started off or, it doesn't go the right way. So
it's like you're talking about Payne Haas. He's always under that cloud.
Yes.
But then when it goes right, he pumps massive scores.
Exactly. So I'm definitely more conservative. But some people want to take that risk because a lot of us might think, people don't play Tino. He might come out and have the game of his life. He hasn't played in forever, it feels like. So he's got all that emotion that he's had built up over last season, the off season. You just don't know what you get from him.
He's got better props around him now too. So he might get some easier second runs where there's a bit of momentum instead of having to create that momentum for himself.
Absolutely.
So this team's interesting too because I go through it and there's a few things we want to change. I'll go through those in a sec. But A couple of interesting attacking stat plays in the forward pack. So gold, Kai Pearce-Paul, diamond, Keon Kolomatangi. For diamond there, you've got a 1.4x multiplier. For gold, it's 1.2.
Yep.
But with those guys, they're both try-scoring dependent big scorers, I would say, in all formats of fantasy.
Yeah.
Especially with Keon playing on the edge. You got Dylan Edwards down the back as well in the fullback spot in a gold position too. So you'd be happy with that one. But
Yes.
for KPP, Tigers matchup we like. You look good in the trial game. Kolomatangi, it's a disjointed South Sydney side against a Dolphins team that maybe could be disjointed as well. So
correct.
I can see the appeal of these calls, but you really need to be aware that you're betting on these guys because in the classic comp, you don't have that many platinum and gold cards in there. So the ones you're picking them to be some of the best scorers in fantasy this week.
Spot on. Exactly right. And to your point, if you don't want to be taking too many risks with pods, you do want to have what you would consider a floor. Like nothing's guaranteed in fantasy, and that's why we love it because you go into each round having a strategy, and sometimes it works really well, and other times you're reflecting on some decisions that you made. But I like to think of it that I like some floor plays, but I don't mind pods at all. Point of different players are going to help you either climb the leaderboards or maybe just fall down that little bit. But if it works out, you got the multiplier on them. It's just like stacking on stacking. So. Yeah, I like taking risks. You shouldn't be afraid to take any risks, especially in the game, because we're a weekly fantasy sports platform and you can win each week.
Yeah.
So every round you can reset, you can go again, and you got your chance to win.
Shoot for upside. Play the pods. That's great. That's a big part of the appeal. Billy Smith as well, not playing round one. So for this side here,
I think RTS is an easy for me to get in there at centre. Yep. Not sure about yourself.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I guess a Newcastle centre as well. I like Best. I like Gagai. I like that matchup.
Just got his diamond.
You did? Oh, sorry, I did. Yeah. No, I pulled Gagai. Yeah. So
actually, I'm really big on Gagai now.
I've got his best diamond. That's what I. Oh no, the Gagai diamond. You should give up anything to get that card.
Yeah. Like, especially a gold ponga.
Well, a Legend Cleary, maybe. Like whatever it is, you give it up to get that card, and only from me. My one's special.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a good side though. Just fix up that center spot, and have a think about those players you're putting in those spots. Guys, too, if you do have any questions, so joining up, it's gamedaysquad.com.au. The code is TCA to get a bunch of free packs like we opened up at the start.
Yep.
And the Discord server here, it's a good spot to be. In fact, look at this depth. I'm going to go through this team as well. We have
I saw a little bit of the sneak peek of that depth.
He's got some diamonds. I'll just pop them up there. And we're going to jump straight into the team first. Now, he's restricted, obviously, because the primary comp that we play on this channel is the classic comp.
Yep.
We run a starter, comp as well, just with the bronze players. But classic lets you play a few of those golds, those diamonds, and I think that's a bit more fun.
Yeah, or you can get people who distribute their salary cap a little more. Like maybe they go try to get a silver line up in there, and so it's sort of like risk. Trying to negate any risk with players going bad. So you're like, I'll evenly spread mine. But I'm a big fan of loading up. And you'll see later, we're going to do a squad reveal, which is exciting. So I won't get too much into strategy because I probably want to talk about a little bit more in depth there. But there is no one recipe wins it all or one squad wins it all. It's a fluid system. And I like to see how people approach it very differently, especially when you have the classic competition and that salary cap restriction. So with all these players, I just might add, playing a silver Terrell May is the same as playing any other silver mid forward. So the salary cap is the same. It's just based on the rarity of card that goes in there. So those two golds give you the same salary cap in terms of hit, irrespective of the player that's being played.
And just on the numbers there, it's 500K for a bronze, 600
silver,
and 700 gold.
Yep, keeps going up all the way through.
Plus 100 each tier.
Spot
on. This team, though, I like this team.
This team is gun.
Yeah, and look, you can see the strategy here. So the middle forward set, you got the silver, like you said, mitigating risk. You're going for three guys are going to go out there, pump out points. So I like that. I go down to the fullback spot, and he's gone, you know what? James Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, Kalen Ponga. Tedesco, face of the game. You got to play his gold card, right?
Face of the game. That's right. Exactly. When you log in, you'll see him. And it just means he's going to be scoring points. We did an event with him this week. He's an absolute legend. Looks fit, looks like he's ready to go. I know the Chooks maybe didn't have the preseason they wanted, but I don't think it's going to be because of James Tedesco, and I'm still very confident that he's going to have a really great year.
Well, there's more weight in his shoulders now. Right?
Absolutely.
So we see him carry, and it was good being on stage with him at that event too.
That would have been awesome.
Bloody legend. But then the card for Matt Burton, I'll probably let you talk about this. So State of Origin card there, I believe. How does
sure.
the scoring and salary cap hit work for that one?
Yeah, exactly. So Queensland, we call them Queensland versus New South Wales cards. They're limited edition. You can only get them in those specific packs on our store. So if you open up one of those packs, you get the chance to win one of these or pack one of these cards. And it's based off the players from last year. So all the people who played in the State of Origin last year will have the chance to get one of these cards. Matt Burton here. So he has a 600K salary cap hit. So he acts as a silver, but he gets a 1.2 times multiplier. So essentially, he's giving you the score of a gold card. So he's sort of acting in the same way as Tedesco and Dylan Edwards, but he's costing less in terms of salary cap. So that's your first big advantage. Your second one is that when all these other platforms don't do Queensland versus New South Wales and the fantasy just hits the hold for a little bit, we go full steam ahead. We have a competition that we run over the 3 games where we give away cash, packs, different prizes, and these cards here, they go into beast mode during this time.
Yep.
So they go from a 1.2 times multiplier to a 1.4 with only a 600,000 salary cap hit. So they stay the same in terms of salary cap.
Wow.
But what you get is a diamond from this card. So they, as I said, they go crazy when it comes to that time of the year. So this card is a really good stash, not only to use in regular competition, but especially during when we're doing the Queensland versus New South Wales series this year.
That's massive. So Burton, 55 average in a regular sort of flat card.
Yep.
At a 1.4 times multiplier, you're looking at about a 77 average.
Beauty.
That's huge.
Oh,
that's
mate.
huge. You're throwing a few attacking stats for him too.
And then you can load up on other players. You can get these other golds in because you're saving the salary cap elsewhere.
Yeah. Monstrous. I mean, and in this team, Brian Toe, we obviously have to mention that. He's a guy you got to take out there.
For sure.
Fletcher Sharp, talk me through your opinion here on particularly in relation to the scoring in game day. He's available on the wing. He's going to be playing at 6. Is that beneficial to his scoring on this platform? Because in fantasy, it's a bit hit and miss. He was more attacking stat available on the wing, but the base stat should improve, right?
Well, I told you there's a player that's playing out of position this year that I wanted to touch on later, and this is him right here. So let's talk about him right now. Yep. As I mentioned, we won't change the position for the entire year because we don't want you to go out and buy a card and then it changes on you mid-year because it's a card that you have and you want to put it into your squad. Yep. So for this, we set it at the start of the season, and if things change over the preseason, they change over the season, that doesn't matter for Fletcher. Now, what we can see, and exactly what you spoke about, is he won't actually be playing on the wing. There's been a bit of change there at Newcastle in terms of who's taking the realm, and Fletcher Sharp looks like he's come into that spot brilliantly. He's going to be doing a lot of the kicking, and the kicking game in terms of fantasy is massive, especially for a position like the wing.
Yep.
So I am huge on Fletcher Sharp this year. This is definitely a card that you want for your squad, and from round 1, he's in. So this is a really good person. I think he's going under the radar a little bit. People might be sleeping. In terms of the platform, if you don't have one, just shoot your shot. Try to trade for one on the transfer market. You never know. Maybe you can get him in. But he's in for a big, big year. And I think he might be one of the top, if not the top, scoring winger when it's all said and done.
Yeah, because in the classic fantasy game, right? As in like NRL fantasy, it's winger fullback. So he's not that exciting. Like he's in there with all the fullbacks, right?
He still will be, but he's not this exciting.
But that tier 1 is not available, right?
Yes.
You stack fullbacks in all those spots. Whereas in game day, you've got to grab wingers. And they're not. There's no one there who really plays fullback on the wing spot. Like it's pretty accurately positioned. So he's not competing with, Turbo or Tedesco or any of that sort of thing. He's competing with Bryant Toe. He's competing with Zach Lomax and
Dom Young. Those type of players that can go big in a week.
Bust, whereas he's hopefully going to be consistent. So that could be really exciting. Herbie Farnworth, Dan Gaggo as well in the centers, and Gus Crichton. I'm all about Gus Crichton this year. I reckon he's just going to absolutely kill it.
He was so good last year.
And you're throwing some attacking stats for him too. Like it's going to be Gus ball. Like the Roosters won't be as good this year, so they're going to throw him the ball. He'll crab on sideways. He'll make his meters, score some tries.
And a bit of change in their forward pack. I think they're actually going to need him to play even better than last year. I think he took a big leap and a big step in terms of his role and just the confidence that he was playing with. He just looked unstoppable in some games, and I'm just seeing that again. Physical player. I'm loving Crichton this year.
Big Gus. Now, we have to look at the depth of this team too before we go into your team reveal.
Yep. What do you think about Watson and Uto on the bench there, though?
Big fan. Uto, a lot of long-term potential. Watson, Watson does what Watson does.
Melbourne forwards are just
good.
always good.
Yeah, and Uto, like in those trial games, was fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Now, this is some depth. And I'll tell you what, you couldn't fit all these players into a classic comp. So you'd have to
Diamond
move
Campbell,
up.
Diamond Brown, Young.
I love Hudson Young there too.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, this is a stack.
This is amazing. This is what you want to see. When you're
I don't have
scrolling
this
down,
yet, mate. I'm working on it.
When you're scrolling down and you're like, who should I put into my squad? It is a little harder to get because I know you see you're going to play classic this year, especially within your Discord. So a lot of people are going to be competing there. It's extremely difficult to get a diamond in a classic squad because you're using a lot of salary cap in this one player.
Yep.
So commonly you're going to have to play a lot of bronzes alongside of it. But if there's a particular week that you look at and you think, you know what, Jaden Campbell's going to top score in the competition this week. It just might be worth it to just get him in there, try to get as many bronzes as you can alongside, and just look at that 1.4 multiplier do its thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Massive. I believe it's 30 or 40% of your extra salary cap if you play one of these guys, right? Whereas it's about 10% for a silver. So
exactly,
it takes up a lot of salary cap if you use one of these guys. But yeah, Campbell there, Dylan Brown, Hudson Young. If Dylan Brown signs a 10-year deal worth $13 million, which is what's being talked about, then I assume his fantasy output should improve with that as well. Guys, if you want to join the fun too, it's gamedaysquad.com.au. Use the code TCA. You get a bunch of free packs there. It means that you can build a really good starter and classic squad from day one.
Absolutely. So we'd love to have you. If you need any help, contact at gamedaysquad.com.au is our email. I'm there. We've got a bunch of people that will help you out in your journey. And the Discord's a great place as well. We have a really good community of coaches who are super ecstatic about the seasons that are happening, and they're very passionate about our game. And I'm sure if you hop on there, a lot of people are really friendly and they will help you out in your journey to begin. And if you need any advice as well, I'm on there. Shoot me a DM, create a live ticket. We can help you through that as well.
And shout out to Prison Mike too. Absolute legend. Met him at the event and he's been pretty helpful through the start of this as well. So cheers, guys.